Thank you so much for joining the webinar today. My name is Chris Bennett and I'm from Collio, and today we're going to talk about 1021 Police Phone Premium. 1021 Police Phone is the most widely used app in all of law enforcement. It really helps to connect you as a police officer to your community by making it easier to connect with them over a phone call. First, a little bit about our team. Collio is a 30-person company based right here in St. Petersburg, Florida. Most of us are here in the office in St. Pete, but we do have a number of account executives that may live closer to your neck of the woods, a lot of them former law enforcement, that go around and do demonstrations and help support your accounts as you grow, both on the patrol side, but also on the criminal investigation side. Collio got started to help create mobile technology for human trafficking and child crimes investigations, and we help connect those phone calls between those criminal investigators, victims of crimes, and suspects. So that's really a whole other side to what Collio does beyond the 1021 Police Phone app. And there'll be contact information at the end of the presentation if that's an area that you'd like more information about. A little bit about me, the presenter. I'm Chris Bennett, founder and chief product officer of Collio. I am barely under 40 years old, have over 60 issued software patents in law enforcement. It's a little bit of an addiction there, and like going fishing here in the waters of Tampa Bay. But let's hop right into the presentation. I'm going to start with a story. Many of you already use 1021 Police Phone, but if you don't, this story will help illustrate some of its benefits. So let's say Kurt Thomas, he's our training director here at Collio. Let's say he has his bike stolen from downtown St. Petersburg. What Kurt may do is file a police report here with Officer Mike to say, hey, I got my bike stolen from 2nd and 2nd downtown here at St. Pete. Well, good news, Kurt's bike is found, and now Officer Mike is going to call Kurt to follow up to say, hey, guess what? Good news, we found your bike. What's the problem though? Chances are Officer Mike is one of the majority of police officers in the US that are not issued department phones. And even if Officer Mike was issued a department phone, there's a good chance that he's going to block his cell phone number when he calls Kurt to say that he found his bike. It makes perfect sense. You as a police officer, you probably don't want to give out your personal phone number to everyone that you deal with. And even on a work phone, if you do give it out, you might have experienced some of the late night calls or calls when you're not working that particular shift that come in where you might not be able to respond to them, or it's really just not the best time to receive it. The trouble is that over 64% of people will not answer a call from a blocked number. That shouldn't be a surprise, and actually that's a couple years old, and I would imagine it's even a much higher rate now. So what happens? Well, Officer Mike will call Kurt and probably leave the department's main non-emergency number for Kurt to call back. So Kurt calls, asks to speak to Officer Mike, gets routed to his voicemail. Maybe the officer checks it later that day, maybe he checks it tomorrow, but what's he gonna do again the next day when he calls him back? We'll probably try calling him again from a blocked number. So you see how this cycle is really makes it very difficult and is a big waste of time when trying to get in touch with citizens. So here's how 1021 Police Phone solves that problem. 1021 Police Phone, released in 2015, is a simple free app for law enforcement where they download the app, verify their law enforcement email address, and then they can begin immediately calling citizens like Kurt from local phone numbers. So in this example here, Kurt would get a call from Officer Mike, but Kurt would see a local 727 number as the incoming caller ID, not a blocked number. Kurt's a lot more likely to answer that call, but even if Kurt doesn't, he can call back and he will hear, you've missed a call from a law enforcement officer. Press 1 to request a call back, or press 2 to connect to the city dispatch. If Kurt presses 1, Officer Mike will get a push callback request, a push notification like the one you see up there on the screen. This is really great because now this gives the officer the opportunity to know that Kurt is requesting a call back, but also to call back on his own time, on his own schedule. You never know what shift that he's going to be working. So 1021 Police Phone, that real simple flow of calling from a local number, receiving a callback request, or routing to dispatch is what has made 1021 Police Phone so popular. So in a nutshell, our free version that we've had out here since 2015 makes it easy to protect your personal number, separate really your on-duty from off-duty time, get those calls answered, and be able to route citizens to dispatch when you might not be available. 1021 Police Phone has been so popular that in fact, 1 in 5 officers across the country use 1021 Police Phone. That's over 150,000 officers in over 50% of agencies, making Police Phone the #1 app in all of law enforcement. We're also listed on AT&T's FirstNet app catalog, meaning that the app is suited for first responders. So if you're an AT&T subscriber, you can additionally go to the AT&T FirstNet App Store, and you'll see 1021 Police Phone listed there as well. But today, we're here to talk about a very new addition to 1021 Police Phone, our premium edition. 1021 Police Phone Premium offers 4 exciting new features. Our first feature is outbound caller ID. In the example that I gave before, when Officer Mike called Kurt would see that local 727 area code number here in St. Pete, but Kurt still might not recognize that number. Maybe he doesn't answer it. Well, now, for those phones that support it, Kurt will receive a law enforcement caller ID when he gets that incoming call. So let's imagine Kurt here had just filed a police report, whether it's about his bike or a robbery, you name it. He's probably expecting a follow-up from law enforcement. Now he knows that that incoming call is probably related to that follow-up and not a telemarketer. Our second feature, and I'm really most excited about this one, is called our follow-up message. So follow-up text messages are so important in this day and age, whether it's to tell you that your flight's delayed, that your Uber's arriving, that your dry cleaning's ready, whatever the notification may be, those text message notifications are so much more valuable than phone calls. So now with 1021 Police Phone Premium, after you call a citizen, they'll also get a text message that says, hey, Officer Mike was just trying to call you from St. Petersburg Police Department to follow up. If you'd like a call back, reply Y, and Officer Mike will get that push notification requesting that call back. This way, whether or not Kurt answered the call, that text message clearly identifies that that call was from law enforcement. It was in regards to a follow-up, and now Kurt can reply Y to request that immediate call back. I'm excited about this one because I think this is really going to help get those callback requests that come in quickly and enable you to resolve that phone call with the citizen immediately versus still going back and forth and playing a little bit of phone tag. And by the way, if you don't want that follow-up message or that outbound caller ID to be on a particular call, you can always disable that from the settings menu. We know that most of the time you do want to call and identify as law enforcement to get that call answered, but sometimes you might want to disable that on a particular call. Now, just as a reminder, whenever a citizen calls back, regardless of whether these new features are turned on, the citizen will always hear you missed a call from a law enforcement officer. So 1021 is never really intended to be used for any kind of undercover or covert purpose, but if there's any need for that to have a dedicated virtual phone number to use for your criminal investigations, please keep in mind that we do have other related products that are great for that, and you can always contact us with the info email address that you'll see at the end of this presentation. Our third feature in 1021 Police Phone Premium is Citizen Caller ID. So just as we had that outbound caller ID that showed law enforcement to Kurt when he received that call from Officer Mike, how about caller ID in the other direction? Well, if you're a 1021 Police Phone user now, you're probably getting callback requests that say, hey, 727-859-1920 requests a call back, but unless you have that report in front of you or you've got a really great memory, you probably don't know who that is that's requesting that call. Now with 1021 Police Phone Premium, we're going to look up Kurt's number as the citizen when he calls back. So now both in your push notification and in your call history, you will see the name of the citizen that's requesting the call. That'll probably jog your memory a little bit better, help you find it in the police report, and help you better save time. Our fourth and final feature in 1021 Police Phone Premium is referred to as call records retention. So right now in the Police Phone app, what you'll see is the most recent few calls that you've made are being saved so that you can easily, let's say, tap somebody that you called this morning in order to call them again this afternoon. So we save your past few calls for convenience, but they're not really retained outside of the app, and you can't really go back and get them months or years later. When we sent you that survey a few months ago asking what features would be most important to you in a new release of 1021, one of the top things on the list was, hey, I'm getting either follow-up requests on a police report, the occasional citizen complaint or inquiry. I need to be able to go back and be able to prove that I called the citizen 3 times 6 months ago. They sent me a callback request and I followed up with it. That call record retention and accountability is so crucial to be able to go back and have that official record of those calls that you made using the 1021 app. So as the 4th feature in our premium edition, you'll have unlimited call records retention, meaning you can go back for a lifetime to go back and retrieve those. So how can you get 1021 Police Phone Premium? The great news is that we just submitted both an iPhone and Android version of Premium to Apple and Google for review. So these apps are currently under review and expected to be released in the App Store this month. As always, our free edition of 1021 Police Phone for making phone calls to a citizen, getting that callback request connecting to dispatch, you can continue to use those free features in our free edition. But we're also offering these 4 new premium features that help you better communicate with citizens, get in touch with them faster, give them more ways to request a call back, and retain those important call records for a lifetime. That'll be available as an in-app subscription for either $4.99 per month or $49.99 per year. So you can either pay for this as an in-app subscription from your existing phone, or in some cases we've heard departments that are interested in reimbursing their officers for premium as a part of their monthly cell phone stipend. So if you are on this webinar today, or even if you're viewing this recording, you will get an email that has instructions on how to download the premium version of the app and get started. As soon as Apple and Google have released those into the store, don't worry, you'll all get notified the minute that you can begin using it. We want to still keep this webinar today, that way we can give you a preview of what's in store and what's coming down the road. But wait, there's more. Coming this spring, we are working on a 1021 Police Phone Enterprise Edition. So what's different from the Enterprise Edition versus Premium? So Premium offers those 4 features that an individual officer can subscribe to via an in-app purchase. Enterprise is an offering that we will have for the entire department or at the agency level. So if you're on this webinar today and you are, let's say, a patrol commander, a chief, or a sheriff, and you know that a large number of officers in your department are using 1021 Police Phone, we're going to help you better onboard new officers as they join the police force to get 1021 accounts, offboard them at retirement, be able to see who's using the app, and if you get call records requests that come in, be able to go through and perform some more inquiries and analysis on the calls that are being used or being made from your department. Some pretty cool additional features that we're also offering with Enterprise is if you see on that screenshot on your screen right now, the example of the St. Petersburg Police Department badge and logo there, we're going to be one of the first apps to be able to display not only a simple caller ID like law enforcement, but a specific department name, officer name, why they're calling, and even a badge on those outbound calls. So you're probably not even getting this on your own phone now, but Callio is going to be one of the first companies in 2020 to be able to show that verified logo, department name, officer name, and all that when you get a call. So imagine if you're a citizen on the other end and you see this coming in, that's going to be a much better experience that's going to help you answer that call versus just receiving a phone call from the local 727-268 number. We're really excited about this one. We're just getting started on onboarding a couple agencies onto Enterprise now. If you're on this webinar and this interests you as a department administrator, go ahead and email info@callio.com and we will follow up with you to join the beta program for 1021 Police Phone Enterprise. If you have any questions or comments on what I just talked to you about today, we are absolutely here to help you. And I wanted to also reiterate that 1021 Police Phone Premium, we just submitted it to Apple and Google to be reviewed, to be added to the store. It will be approved from them, we hope, in the coming days or weeks. As soon as that app comes out, we will be able to send you a little email notification saying that the app is available for download. All right, that's just a short and simple quick webinar for today. Thank you so much for using this app and for being great proponents of 1021. It's been awesome to see how the app has grown really organically from just a couple users to over 150,000 in a few short years. Really proud as a company to be able to serve you and help you in what you do. And thank you for everything, and have a great rest of your afternoon.